Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Okay. Now, the first thing is, do we have any announcements that weren't in the Friday's newsletter? I have one that Barb Barnes has been so busy, she hasn't gotten her little explanation or synopsis back to me yet. She knows she's going to do it, she just hasn't had time. So those of you that are looking forward to it, like I am, it's next week. Announcements? Okay. As you are, you're welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you're welcome here. With little children, or your partner, or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You're welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner, you're welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest, you're welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe peoples who share the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. Now for our chalice lighting, and Joe is going to help us. And it's written, what we're going to say is written in your order of service. O spinner, weaver of our lives, your loom is love. May we who gathered here be empowered by that love to weave new patterns of truth and justice into a web of life that is strong, beautiful, and everlasting. Now our hymns today are Judy's hymns, and we're going to sing I Am Sending You Light. It's on page 23 in the Open Your Heart Songbook, which is this one.
Just a minor correction. I Am Sending You Light is written by Melanie DeMore, a Bay Area singer-songwriter, wonderful person, worth a look up on YouTube. And this first song, I Am Sending You Light, is one that she wrote for her sister who was dying of cancer. So you may keep that in mind as you're reading it too, or as you're singing it. Sure, let's stand. You may stand, or you can stand. If you can't, you may stay seated. Give it up. My mother was an English teacher. There was a lot of difference between can and may. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. Let's do that again. And sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you.
Now, I have joys and concerns from the bowl. And one of the reasons for the bowl is so you can make things anonymous if you want. But if somebody would like to actually speak from the floor, we can take the microphone to you. So first of all, I am deeply concerned that I go on trial on Tuesday for something that I didn't do, and I feel like no one will speak up for me. We hold this person in our thoughts and our prayers. Does anyone else have a joy and concern? Okay.
Pretty much everything coming from the executive branch of our government and the Republicans in Congress is of grave concern.
Amen.
This is a joy for me, but might be a concern for Gemma, who knows. I have transferred the workspace to Gemma, and it's in good hands. She's got a lot of training in that area. And believe me, I'm so excited to have her take on that role and responsibility. So you can be reaching out to her more if you got something that comes up where you may need some support, but you always can come to me and I'll just transfer it back to her.
Catherine has been wonderful. She's been training us on the worship committee, and she does so much of our work for us, including projections. Carrie.
Well, a big joy. I'm working now with the American Cancer Society Action Network, the advocacy portion of the American Cancer Society, and we had a great round of support to getting cancer research funding replaced in the budget. And the great news is a lot of money was restored. The bad news is nobody is talking about this, and it's maybe because I'm personally involved and know a lot of the researchers and people that did work for CDC who've been fired and people who worked for NIH that have been fired. How do you get the research back? The money is there, and that is absolutely necessary, but we lost so much, and nobody's talking about, well, in the case of, say, pediatric brain cancer, or my daughter's rare medullary thyroid cancer, they were fired. Basically, they don't have jobs. So what happens now? And yes, it's a big celebration. We need that money back in the budget, but I don't know how the ins and outs are gonna work and how we're gonna restore. That's just a small segment of what's been destroyed, how we get things back.
And thank you too. I have a friend who was fired from NIH, and now he has kidney cancer. So I'm holding him in my thoughts and prayers too. Anybody else? Okay. Story for all ages. I don't see any young people here today, but I do have the slideshow, and I could read it to you, and it's kind of cute. I think it might help us as adults too. What it does is it compares the thoughts that go through our head in our heads in meditation to a train, and how we can sometimes look at it, or sometimes look at the various cars, or watch it go by in our head, and just let it go as it goes by. So this is called Meditation Station, and there we go. There's our train of thoughts that are flowing right by us. Meditation Station is a special place. Trains come and go at a speedy pace. Thoughts are like trains that zoom right by. Hey, what's that over there? Wow, can I try? I like the joke about the squirrel. Oh, you see the squirrel? Toot, toot, the conductor pulls a cord. Chug-a-chug, choo-choo, all aboard. Breathe in, wave to the engineer in striped jean overalls. Breathe out, smile as the caboose passes and dispatch calls. So, whoosh goes your breath like the whistle's hot steam. Listen as steel locomotives squeak and scream. Watch your train of thoughts roll down the railroad track. Sit still and listen to the clickety-clack. Wonder what's loaded in the wagons and cars? Maybe magical potions or bright shooting stars. Oh, look, it's a flatbed full of things you wish you could do, like have birthday cake for breakfast or fly to the zoo. There goes a boxcar of words you wanted to say, adventure stories and games you could play. Wait, the signal lights are flashing red, yellow, green. Stop. Slow down your breathing machine. Feel the thumpity thump of your little heartbeat from the top of your head to the tips of your feet. Inbound, a double-decker diesel line. Hear the hum of your breath and you'll be just fine. On the platform, no baggage is the perfect location. Relax and enjoy the meditation station. You can lie down flat or sit crisscross. Remember, you are your own breathing boss. As thoughts zoom in and out of your brain, stay in the station and just watch each train. Thank you. And now our reading. No, well, should we sing Wish for All Children, whether we have children or not? Sure, okay. Sorry. Yep. Now turn to page 543 in your gray-blue book to a reading and response called Winter. And I think this must be for our folks on the East Coast in Florida and Georgia and Alaska too, but not here. It seems like we don't have winter at the moment. Let us not wish away the winter. It is a season to itself, not simply the way to spring.
When trees rest,
Growing no leaves, gathering no light, they let in sky and trace themselves delicately against dawns and sunsets. The clarity and brilliance of the winter sky delight. The loom of fog softens edges, lulls the eyes and ears of the quiet, awakens by risk the unquiet. A low, dark sky can snow, emblem of individuality, liberality, and aggregate power. Snow invites to contemplation and to sport. Winter is a table set with ice and starlight. Winter dark tends to warm light, fire and candle, winter cold to hugs and huddles. Winter wants to gifts and sharing. Winter danger to visions, plans, and common endeavors. And this depth of narrow escapes. Winter tedium to merrymaking. Let us therefore praise winter, rich in beauty, challenge, and pregnant negativities. I never thought I'd miss winter, but I sure miss it now. Okay, ago. Thank you for your gifts this day and all the gifts of action that make this community possible. If you're visiting, please remain our guest. Your presence is your gift to us. And after we take the offering, we'll sing Thank You for Your Loving Hands, page 25 in the Open Your Heart Handbook. Hey, Judy, we're going to do page 4 in Open Your Heart Songbook with a chant, Earth My Body.
So it would be best if you would rise to do this with me. It would be best if you would rise to do this with me. It's a little delay on that. I don't need to say it again, do I? Okay. So at one of our music camps, we came up with some actions to this. So drop your books. You don't need your books for this. So earth my body. So you take your hands here, earth my body, and then water, take the W and come up your body. Water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. So earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. Should I play it through once? Just, yeah, sure, why not? Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath,
Now, as Monty Python says, now for something completely different. We have Cliff Stevens, and he's going to talk about Don't Know Mind.
Well, good morning, everyone. Actually, what I'm going to do is I changed the title slightly to an introduction to Don't Know Mind. Takes a little while to develop Don't Know Mind. I hope you can read that up there. My eyesight is failing, so I got to get my little flashlight out wherever I put it. I had it a minute ago. Anyway, so most of this discussion was going to come from Buddhism, particularly Zen Buddhism, and but you can find this in all other religions, and I'll have a few excerpts from others. But it refers to a state that promotes openness, humility, and receptivity. Embracing this mindset can lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people around us. Let go of the need for certainty and allow yourself to explore different perspectives. This is something I've been working on a long time, decades. When Shar asked me to talk about anything I wanted, I just happened to be thinking of this at the time. So the next slide gives you a calligraphy from a Korean Zen master. It says, "Only don't know." That's something, that's sort of a dictum with them. And it is the practice of cultivating a state of open curiosity, free from preconceptions, judgments, and the need to control situations. Through premature understanding, it acts as an antidote to suffering caused by clinging to opinions, fostering a beginner's mind that is present, flexible, receptive, and to the true nature of each moment. Well, that's just some of the things that the masters say about it. Kind of hard to take on board. It's not something you just go, oh yeah, I believe in that. It takes a while. Go ahead, next slide. And I put this in here because I just love her face. I don't know. Looks like she knows what she's talking about, which is sometimes I often don't look like. But the mind usually says, I know, I know, I know. But the don't know mind is where wisdom lives. And I'm going to just do a little exercise with you about know and don't know. This is something that I think about a lot. All of us think, all of us think, we're just sitting here and it's very peaceful. It's a beautiful spot. We can think of lots of other beautiful spots where we just like to sit in the stillness and the spirit and the wonder of life. But that's not really true. We're on an earth that's spinning, and we're going about 1,000 miles an hour on this earth spinning. And this earth is rotating around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And our solar system is rotating within the Milky Way galaxy. Let's see what that says. 450,000 miles an hour. And our galaxy is moving through the universe at 1.3 million miles an hour. Now you add them all up, and we, sitting right here, are moving 2 million miles an hour. And it always makes me think, it's really true that we're going nowhere fast. We have no idea where we're going, but we are going there at 2 million miles an hour. And in the meantime, we don't know that. We're just sitting here in this stillness. Next slide. I been looking at the living traditions. I thought I'd bring that up here because, I believe in all of them. I think they're all great. And I, came to many of those conclusions years ago in my own study and practice. But I like the part where it said on the website about living out these principles inside the living tradition. And I love that. What it says is, within a living tradition of wisdom and spirituality drawn from sources as diverse as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experience. I'd like to put a little bit of all four of them in whatever I talk about. And so we'll see how that goes. But these are the 6 sources. And so one of them for me today is this direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures. And I think Don't Know Mine qualifies for that. And I've, like I said, been working on that for decades, at least since the 1980s. And I'll tell you the story that got me started here in a little bit. But wisdom from the world's religions, which inspires us to our ethical and spiritual life. And so stuff from Buddhism or any other religion can qualify as that, and I found that to be true. So the next slide gives you a little thing of where we are. So Don't Know Mine, how does that apply to the past? Well, in therapy, many people find out that there's something buried way down within them, but they don't know it's there. And so it affects their life, and it causes them to do this, that, and the other thing. But, they go to therapy and spend money to have somebody guide you through that internal world that we all have and help us figure out. And I've done this plenty of times in my life, more like the AA version of therapy, which is self-therapy, but that's okay. But in the future, that's a tough one. As the Buddha said, what you will be is what you do now. Padmasambhava, he's the person who brought Buddhism to Tibet long ago. He went a little further and said, if you want to know your future life, look at your present actions. And that's gets us focused back from this worried about the future to the present moment. What are we doing right now? And in the present, suspending judgments, expectations, and preconceived notions to experience the current moment with fresh, childlike curiosity. That's awful hard for us as we grow older. I'm 75 now, and I'm kind of liking that. As we get a little older, we tend to go back to childhood. I think that's a great thing. But this is where we are, and we tend to obsess and worry about the past or the future, and it takes away from our experience the moment. The past and the future tells us we know a lot of stuff. The present moment tells us maybe you don't know everything you need to know. The next slide is one of the fundamental books of American Buddhism. It's called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by, does it say Rizzo? Yeah, Roshi Suzuki. The key aspects of the teachings that he summarizes in this book, freedom from views is the first one. The Buddha warned against getting stuck in one idea or considering a single doctrine as the absolute truth, as this prevents true understanding and causes suffering. And we can see that a lot if you ever work with mental illness or childhood trauma or many of the other things that everybody's got some of that in their lives. Don't know mind? A genuine beginner's mind is synonymous with Buddha mind. you ever heard that expression. It's a state of fresh, non-attached curiosity. So think about the children that you know and how every day it's just wake up and, ooh, what's next today? You know, I mean, they don't know they got to do this, that, or the other thing. They're like, everything is, we're going to eat, we're going to play, we're going to do this, how are we going to do it? Maybe mom and dad are going to take me somewhere, or maybe we'll go get ice cream, or, you know, we're full of possibilities. So I try to wake up with a little bit of that every morning. Not wake up with, oh God, I know what's going to happen today. No, I don't know what's going to happen today. Get to my story next. But in the empty mind, and so this preconceived notions that we carry around, past, future, worry about, this is not what we mean when we say empty mind. An empty mind is free of those things and is ready for anything, open to all possibilities, and free from the preconceptions and the trap of an expert. And we have way too many experts in the religious world, so, and in the governmental world. And I get very tired of people in politics, like you were saying, say, if this happens, that will happen. They have no idea what's going to happen. They talk about this, that, and the other thing. They have no idea what the ripple effects are going to be of that. And it's going to affect people's health, people's lives, all kinds of stuff. But they're totally ignorant of that. But yet, and I believe this, most of the evil in the world is done by people who know exactly what they're doing. The people who are open to it, not really sure what they're doing, maybe I'm doing the right thing, maybe I'm not doing the right thing. Those are not the people who create and do evil. So, try not to be one of those people that, you know, knows everything, thinks they know everything. So, where am I going? Oh, there's my story at. I want my story. Okay, how did I get started on Don't Know Mine? It goes back to a story that I heard about a Jewish rabbi. And I can't remember where I first heard this story, but if you go looking for it, you'll find it in lots of places. Here's the story. So there's a Hasidic story, and that takes you back to like Fiddler on the Roof. If you remember Fiddler on the Roof, that was a Hasidic community in, I don't know, Poland or someplace. But anyway, there was a rabbi who crossed a village square every morning on his way to the temple to pray. One morning, a large Russian Cossack soldier who happened to be in a vile mood accosted him, saying, "Hey, Rabbi, where are you going?" And the rabbi simply said, "I don't know." This infuriated the soldier. "What do you mean you don't know? Every morning for 25 years, you have crossed the village square and gone to the temple to pray. Don't fool with me. Why are you telling me you don't know?" He grabbed the old rabbi by the coat and dragged him off to jail. And just as he was about to push him into the cell, the rabbi turned to him and softly said, "You see, I didn't know." And I've thought about this story for many years. I come back to it over and over again. I got another story later. But I keep wondering, well, for the first 10, 15 years, did the rabbi know where he was going when he was walking across the plaza wall to the synagogue to pray? Probably did. He probably would say, "I know where I'm going." But experience and prayer and the religious land, living in the place and time that he lived, eventually he said, "You know, I really don't know anything." And this is what a lot of, I think, true spiritual people come to. I don't really know anything. You know, I have this openness to the world, and I like this rabbi. Anyway, next slide, please. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. I have all of these slides in a PDF file. If you want me to send them to you, I will. So, don't know in practice. Well, the Zen teacher Sun Song, who I have a little experience with, frequently encourage this, and it helps in navigating situations without being attached to specific outcomes. I got to spend a few days in a Zen, I don't know if I should call it monastery or what it was, but it was in Burbank, California, and you could see the big Hollywood sign from that monastery. And so I lived there for a few days, and one of the things I like about Korean Zen, and Soon Song has brought Korean Zen to the US in the early 70s. They're pretty open. You can go in there and stay, live as a monk for a couple of days, then go away if you want to, come back again. I mean, my daughter was living with one of the Zen monks, so, you know, they're pretty open to that. I thought, well, this is very interesting. So he has taught a lot about this, and he says that this will overcome dualism, which is the gap between self and other, is his explanation, and allowing for a more compassionate and direct interaction between other people. If you see somebody dressed a certain way or wearing a certain button on their shirt, or God forbid a certain hat on their head, kind of hard to have a compassionate and direct interaction. Also, freedom from concepts, it serves as a tool to avoid getting stuck in rigid, habitual, and judgmental ways of thinking. The practice is not meant to make one helpless or oblivious. Rather, it empowers one to react to the world more authentically and effectively, and clearing away rigid, preconceived notions. And we all get that from our childhood. We come out of childhood, our parents' views are our views, or at least the church we grew up in is where we get our views of this and that, because we're all coming into this world with nothing. I mean, you have more neurons in your head the second you're born than you will ever have in the rest of your life. And you will spend the rest of your life connecting those neurons and making neural pathways. And those are awfully hard to go against. And if you grew up in a very strict Christian background, let's say like the Hutterites or the Amish or something like that, you developed all these neural pathways in that. And if you move to someplace in the Middle East or something, it's going to be completely different. None of it's going to make sense to you. Where it makes perfect sense to them because they grew up in a different place. So we need that lack of preconceptions. I've lived in many places. I've spent time with Aboriginals in Australia, and if you want to ever talk to somebody who is completely different, find an Aboriginal somewhere out in the outback and talk to them. It's going to be quite an experience, I can tell you that. I remember sitting down once, I saw when I sat down next to him. I sat there for 10 minutes before either of us said a word. Just sat there. What do we got there? Anyway, next slide. In a Zen monastery, you're going to have a meditation room like this. This is from one of the Sung Soon monasteries who founded in America, the Kuan school of Buddhism, which you may have heard of Kuan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion, the female form of the Bodhisattva of compassion. I have a statue of her in my yard if you want to come look at it. The male form is Avalokiteshvara. You may have heard of him. The Bodhisattva of compassion, instead of Kuan Yin, she who hears the crying of the world. So you get up, you're woken up every morning early, and you all show up in the Zen room and you chant certain things. I thought it was interesting. There was no Koreans in there, it was all Americans, but we were chanting the Heart Sutra in Korean. And I asked, but do you know Korean? I said, no, I have no idea. Do you know what you're chanting? No, I don't have any idea. but it works. I love the Heart Sutra. The next day they chanted it all in English for me, so, because they realized I was completely lost. I like the Zen Center because you can see there's a chair here. The days when I can sit on the floor and cross my legs are long gone. I graduated from the regular Zafus to the big Zafu, I don't know, sometime in my 50s. Went to the chair sometime in my 60s. But it's a very peaceful place. Like I say, with these, you can show up for a while if you want a quick start on some of these, because the first thing you need to do is to get a handle on your mind. If you start meditation at the meditation station, you're going to have all those trains going by, and you've got to just let them go and quiet yourself, and then you can start working on Don't Know Mind, maybe some more. Okay, this is not exactly a story, but it comes from the Christian tradition, and in the Christian tradition, can I go to the next slide? Next slide, sorry. Oh yeah, we'll get there. Okay, I guess I didn't make a slide of this, so anyway, great. In the Christian tradition, you might say, well, this doesn't sound like Christianity at all. This is not, well, because in Christianity you use different words. And the word found in Christianity is unknowing. And the main idea of this is unknowing with your mind lets you know with your heart. And the problem is many of us, and I was this way too, thought with my mind. My mind was me, but actually my heart is me, not my mind. And in the Gospel of James, it says this: come on, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city and spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. That's where we're really at. But we make plans, go places, do stuff. Gospel of James is not in the Bible. It's very influential in early Christianity. But here's a simple way. This is from Jack Kornfield, who I've talked about before. So if you want to follow this is from his book called A Wise Heart, which for American Buddhists, Jack Kornfield is one of the first authors that wind up on their bookshelf. So you can read that in the book. I'll just go on to the next one. This is a poem by Jalaluddin Rumi, a Sufi mystic, but a very orthodox Muslim at the same time. Maybe you've heard this before. I'll just chant it the way I chant it. Far beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the words each other just don't make any sense. So right doing and wrong doing, in between there is don't know. And when the soul lies down in that grass, the grass of not knowing, things change. Our perception changes. And some of the things that feel so solid aren't so solid anymore. And we realize, like in almost any literature of religion, if you can look at it and say, is this unifying or is this disunifying? If it's unifying, I don't care where it comes from. I think it's good. And that's what this is saying. Now that distance between us is all based in that world of right doing and wrong doing. And so, anyway, like I said, this is an introduction. Unfortunately, you'll have to, one of these seeds will have to be planted within your consciousness. Next slide. This is one of my favorite slides. Little boy meditating. Jizu is the Japanese bodhisattva of children. I used to have a statue of him too until one of my grandchildren broke it. So if anybody knows where I can get another one, let me know. But an old proverb is, as it says, you should sit in meditation for 20 minutes a day. But if you don't have the time, you should sit it for an hour. Now, there's a little koan type thing, you know, one of those things that at first you say, well, I think I know what that means, but on inspection you go, I'm not sure what that means. But I love that little boy. He's got his mala there. Whatever he says, I'll go with. I mentioned that as koan practice because that's one of the practices in Zen Buddhism that teachers use on their students. They tell you, I like Ram Dass, and he, in one of his books, talked about his experience with this, where he was in a Zen monastery and he was studying a koan. You know, I don't know which one, I don't remember. Maybe it was the famous one, what is the sound of one hand clapping? You know, that's the one that maybe most people know the most. And so, you know, for a week, he'd go into his little cell, he'd meditate on what's the sound of one hand clapping, come to the interview with the teacher, and so I said, yeah, what's grasshopper? What is the sound of one hand clapping? And then he'd say something that his mind had thought up. And the master would take a stick and hit him with it and say, go back to your room. And he'd go back for another week. And this went on for several weeks. Until finally one week he came to his interview and he said, well, master says, what's the sound of one hand clapping? He says, you know, that's a beautiful tree in the garden, isn't it? And the master said, now you are beginning Zen student. I still don't know what that story means, but I love it. So koan training, and this is a bunch of koans, next slide, that I thought you might find one that appeals to you. I have the first one framed on the wall beside my bed. Has been there for a long time. The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. Well, that sounds reasonable until you start analyzing it a little bit. Meditate on it for a while. Let that, I do walking meditation a lot with chanting and mantra and koan and whatever. And let that sink in for a while. And first off, how do I become quieter? And what is it that I'm supposed to hear? And, you know, et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of good ones in here. Where am I? Here. What time is it? Now. That's another koan for me. What time is it? In the present. What time is it? What am I supposed to be doing? Where am I in this life? As you can see, my knees aren't doing very good either. So if you want to get that PDF and take a look at some of those koan practices after you. How many people here do meditation regularly? Anybody? Oh, good. So you've got a little head start on the others, but you can start with meditation wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And you don't have to sit like a Zen Buddhist monk in a monastery. You can sit in your rocking chair at home. Quietly breathe in and out. And watch your mind. Where is your mind? Is it in the future? What are you worried about? Is it in the past? people told you you were stupid, or people told you you were ugly, or people told you you were beautiful. That's even worse. Not that I ever had to worry about that. But anyway, I think that's the last slide, isn't it? Oh, good. So here's, I'm going to close, and oh my gosh, I take too long. I'm too long. But I'm going to close with a poem that I wrote. Part of my practice is I find a spiritual question, or a writing, or a scripture, or something, and I work with it for a week, month, however long it takes. Eventually, I get it down into the form of a poem or a song. And so here is a poem that I wrote about 10 years ago in the Texas Hill Country. I remember that. But anyway, I was thinking about this talk, and I remembered it, and I dug it out. It was in the bowels of my hard drive somewhere. It's called The Road to Don't Know Mind. I thought that my loneliness would go away someday. I thought I would be forgiven if I only learned to pray. I thought I'd be forgiven, yeah. I thought I could make it to the other shore, but I don't know what to think anymore. I thought growing old could be done with grace. I thought I'd never see lines of sorrow on my face. I thought I would learn what living is for, but I don't know what to think anymore. Thoughts crystallize and then fade away. High hopes rise and set the same day. My body has become a life raft full of holes, and soon it will succumb to the truth no one knows. I thought the future could somehow change the past. I thought my life would never go so fast. I thought I'd be the one to finally get it right, but I don't know what to think tonight. They say there's a Buddha in the park outside town, holding up a flower sitting on the ground, teaching when thoughts come, simply watch them go, and asking every question, and answer every question by saying, I don't know. Standing at the entrance, barefoot in the cold, watching the bhikkhus as they come and go. Somehow my questions seem so long ago, and I've forgotten who wanted to know. Does anybody, I'm going to have some coffee over there afterwards if anybody wants to ask me any questions about anything, but does anybody have a question right now? Good. Questions are good. Thank you.
Before we have the last hymn, we're going to have a moment of meditation. Thank you, Cliff. That was really very nice. I don't know how to thank you. Okay, now we turn into page 17 in Open Your Heart Sound Book. You know we are one. Thank you, Judy. Now it's time to extinguish the chalice. You can read it, it's in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth.